Hi distinction students, welcome to another interesting tutorial video where we are looking at another interesting topic in integrated science, fertilization and embryo development. They are examination past paper questions of which I have provided solutions. It's your tutor, Mr. Peter, and without waste of time, let's begin. So in this unit, we'll look at fertilization, then we'll proceed to process involved in what? In fertilization. So to those who have been passing through past paper questions in science, you have come across some questions which are asking you to define the term fertilization, and others have been asking you to describe the process of what? Of fertilization. So in this video, I'm going to help you to define fertilization, and I'm going to assist you describe the process of what? Of fertilization. So what is fertilization? So fertilization is the joining of the male cell sperm and the female cell egg, which is also called the ova, to form a zygote. So fertilization is the joining of the male cell sperm and the female cell egg, which is also called the ova, to form a zygote. So here, in other words, you can define fertilization as the joining of the sperm and the egg to form a zygote. Then you are done with those two definitions. Then you are good to go. Now we move to the process involved in what? In fertilization. You pay attention. So during sexual intercourse, a man deposits sperm cells into the vagina when a man ejaculates. So you need to know what to ejaculate mean. So ejaculation is when a man releases sperm during sexual intercourse. So ejaculation is just simply when a man releases what? Sperm during sexual intercourse. So the sperm will pass through the cervix and enter the what? The uterus. So here a cervix, the cervix is just simply a demarcation. Is something that is found in between the vagina and the what? And the uterus, and it provides mucus that helps in lubrication during sexual intercourse. We'll look at that as we proceed in the what? In the video. So the sperm cell will pass through the oviduct, and if the egg is there, then fertilization will do what? Will take place. Okay, so here this point is saying when a man ejaculates, the sperm will pass through the cervix and enter the what? The uterus. From the uterus, the sperm will swim through the oviduct, which is also called the fallopian tube. And then when the sperm meets or finds an egg in the oviduct, then fertilization will do what? Will take place. That will result into what we call a zygote. So after fertilization takes place, a zygote will start to divide, and then after dividing, it will automatically form what we call the embryo. It will automatically form what we call the embryo. Then this embryo will stick to the upper wall of the what? Of the uterus, and it will start to what? To grow. So let me just make a summary on what I have just explained. So fertilization is the joining of the sperm and the egg to form a zygote. Then you are done. And then if you're asked to describe, you just simply say during sexual intercourse, a man would deposit sperm into the what? The vagina. And then once the sperm has been deposited in the vagina, it will pass through the cervix and enter the what? The uterus. From the uterus, the sperm will swim through what? The oviduct, which is also called the fallopian tube. And then inside the fallopian tube, when the sperm meets with the egg, and then fertilization will do what? Will take place. But once fertilization takes place, it will result into what we call a zygote. After a zygote is formed in the oviduct, it can't grow just there. We are saying it will start to divide towards the what? The uterus. So after fertilization takes place in the oviduct, the zygote will start rolling towards the what? The uterus. As it is rolling, it will start to divide and it will eventually form what we call the embryo, which will stick to the upper wall of the uterus and it will start to grow. Then you are done. Then you have described the process of what of fertilization. Then that's all about this unit. We look at other important information in the next unit. Okay, so in this unit we are looking at the features of a developing embryo, and then on the left side of this slide we are able to see the diagram where we have parts like the umbilical cord, the fetus, the uterus, placenta, so on and so forth. And then on the right side, we have the uses, or let me say, the importance of these parts of a developing embryo. We start with the amnion. Here is the amnion. What is the function or the use of the amnion in the developing embryo? The amnion is a membrane that surrounds the amniotic fluid. The amnion is a membrane that surrounds the amniotic fluid. Okay. The amnion also contains a fluid called amniotic fluid. So we are saying that this membrane, this is what we are calling the amnion, and then the amnion contains a fluid which we are calling the amniotic fluid. Okay, that's where the baby floats and is protected from external damage. The second part, we are looking at the placenta. This is a site of exchange of substances like oxygen and carbon dioxide between the mother and the embryo. The placenta allows important substances like nutrients and gases like oxygen to pass from the mother's bloodstream into the fetus bloodstream. Apart from that, it also allows exchange of waste materials and waste gases like carbon dioxide from the fetus bloodstream into the maternal bloodstream. After knowing all these parts, then you have known the function of the amnion and the function of the placenta. Let's look at the function of the umbilical cord and other parts in the next slide. Okay, now we continue on the features of the developing embryo. Now, in this slide, we are looking at the function of the umbilical cord, the cervix, and the amniotic fluid. Okay, so we start with the umbilical cord. What's the function of the umbilical cord? Here is our umbilical cord. So this transports blood from the mother to the embryo or fetus and vice versa. When I say vice versa, I simply mean the opposite. We are saying that it transports blood from the mother to the fetus. So the vice versa will be from the fetus to the mother. Apart from that, you also say the umbilical cord also carries food and gases from the mother to the embryo or fetus. Apart from that, it also carries waste materials from the embryo or fetus to the mother. That is the function of the umbilical cord. We move to the cervix. The cervix closes during pregnancy to prevent a miscarriage. Okay, so a miscarriage is just simply the loss of the baby before, the loss of the fetus before it fully develops inside the uterus. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Amniotic fluid. What's the function of the amniotic fluid? We say it's a fluid that protects the fetus from mechanical shock. It provides a suitable temperature for the developing embryo or fetus. Apart from that, it protects the fetus from dehydration. It protects the fetus from dehydration. Okay, so after knowing these functions, we started by knowing the function of the amnion. We move to the placenta. If you know the function of the umbilical cord, the cervix, and the amniotic fluid, then you are good to go and answer any questions related to embryo development and the gestation period. Okay, so in this unit we're looking at gestation and and birth. Gestation and birth. We also have a diagram here. We have the uterus where we know the functions. The uterus, the umbilical cord is here. We have the placenta at this position. We have the vagina. We have the cervix. We have the amnion. We have the amniotic fluid. We also have the fetus here. this baby, the fetus is here. So gestation is a period of time between conception, which is pregnancy, to birth. So gestation is just a period when a person is pregnant until that person gives birth. That period is called what? Gestation. So during this time, the development of the fetus continues until the baby is what? Is born. The length of the pregnancy or the gestation period is about 266 to 270 days in between the two, which is 38 to 40 weeks, which amounts to 9 months. Need to take note that the days are not specific, as it is difficult to determine the exact days. Yes, we know it's 9 months, but we don't really know the exact day. Okay, sometimes others give birth early, others a little bit late, just like that. Okay, so just give approximation. So the beginning of the gestation is dated from the previous menstrual period. Okay, so how do you now know that gestation has begun? After sexual intercourse, when a woman now stops experiencing menstruation, that's when you start calculating gestation. That's when a woman becomes pregnant. Okay, so when a woman just stops menstruating, and then that woman should now know that she is pregnant, and then she is under gestation period. There will be a time where she will give birth. The time of conception, pregnancy, and birth is called the gestation period. Then you are done. Okay. Stages of development of the offspring. So this question is very much important. It comes in an exam very much. They'll ask you, okay, they'll just arrange they'll arrange these words random. They'll just start with embryo, they'll start with newborn, then maybe let's say zygote will be there at the end, and then they'll ask you arrange these words in order. So you can't say you start with the embryo. No, we start with the zygote, so on and so forth. So that's what we are looking at in this unit. So the stage of development in a human, from zygote to baby or infant. Stage of development. Stage of development, and we have development here. We start the first stage of development is the zygote, when the egg meets with the sperm. The zygote is the first stage. So this is the first stage and is formed as a result of fertilization, the joining of the sperm and egg in the oviduct. The zygote will start dividing and will result into the embryo. The second stage is the embryo. This is the second stage of the development in the uterus after the zygote has divided. This starts when the zygote attaches the placenta. The third stage, the fetus. So this occurs in the uterus from 9 weeks after fertilization and goes until birth. Okay, so the fetus starts from 9 weeks after fertilization and goes until birth. Then we have the fifth one, the fourth one, which is the newborn. So the fourth stage is the newborn. This term describes a baby or infant for the first 28 days after birth. So after giving birth, after 28 days now, that baby is no longer called a fetus. You now call it newborn. And then the last stage, the baby, which is also called infant. This describes a human from the 29th day after birth until 1 to 2 years old. Okay, so you can call a baby from the 29th day after birth until 1 to 2 years old. Then that's all about this unit. Okay. So now we answer exam past paper questions based on what I have explained in previous unit time. So you can pause the video, try to answer the questions, and then you can compare the answers. The first question: study the diagram below showing a stage in the fetus development. Question A: identify the part labeled K and L. Identify the part labeled K and L. Part K is here and L there. So the part K is the umbilical cord and the part L is the amnion. Okay, we go to question B. Describe the function of liquid marked N. Describe the function of liquid marked N. Liquid N, which is also called the amniotic fluid, is the fluid that protects the fetus from mechanical shock. It also protects the fetus from dehydration. It also provides a suitable temperature for the developing embryo or fetus. We move to question C. State one substance other than gas which moves in the direction of the arrow. So here, this picture is not that clear, but the arrow was coming in this direction. Okay, the arrow is coming in this direction. So which substance other than gas comes in this direction from the mother to the fetus? I'll just give you that information because you can't see the arrow there. So from the mother to the fetus, which substance other than the simply mean, apart from gas, which substance moves from the mother to the fetus? Very simple, it's food. We move to D. In which labeled part does exchange occur between the mother and the fetus? So where does exchange of substances take place? So exchange of substance takes place at part M, which is the placenta. The last question: explain why the mother at this stage requires a special diet which includes protein and the carbohydrate. So you say because proteins are needed for growth and repair of tissues for the baby, and the mother needs carbohydrates for energy needed for work and carrying the baby. We move to question 2. Question 1. The diagram below shows a fetus in the uterus of a pregnant woman. Question A. Identify the structure labeled G and H. Part G, umbilical cord. Part H, amnion. You can pause the video, try to answer the questions and compare the answers. Question B. State the function of structure I. So the function of structure I: it protects the fetus from dehydration. It provides a suitable temperature for the developing embryo or fetus. It's a fluid that protects the fetus from mechanical shock. Question C. Complete the stage of the embryo development by filling in the blank space 1 and 4. This was a question that I was talking about, very much important. You fill in the stages of the development of the embryo. So you start stage 1, the zygote; stage 2, embryo; stage 3, fetus; stage 4, baby or infant. Question D. If the fetus in the diagram was conceived on the 20th February this year, predict the date of delivery of the baby. So you can just add from 20th February, just count 9 months. It will result into the final answer, which is 25th November. Okay, 25th November. So that's all about this question. Question 3. Question 1. The following diagram below shows the main structure in the development of an embryo. Question A. Identify the part labeled M and J. Part M, the placenta. Part J, amnion. Question B. What is the main function of the parts L and K? Part L, which is the umbilical cord, include transport food nutrients from the mother to the fetus, transports oxygen from the mother to the fetus, transports carbon dioxide from the fetus to the mother. Functions of Part K, which is the amniotic fluid, include it protects the fetus from dehydration, it provides a suitable temperature for the developing embryo or fetus, it's a fluid that protects the fetus from mechanical shock. We move to question C. Describe the process of fertilization. Fertilization takes place in the fallopian tube, which is also called the oviduct, where the sperm cells fuse with a female egg to form a zygote. Question D. State one nutrient important for a pregnant woman. State one nutrient important for a pregnant woman. All nutrients are important. Mention one. You just say, you can mention protein, vitamin, iron, carbohydrates, etc. Since they've said mention one, just mention any of which I have given. Then that's all about this question.